Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bowling University studio here in the International Bowling Campus in Arlington, Texas. I'm Bart Berger, and I'll be your host for this edition of the Bowling University Profit Break. Thank you for joining us. Our mission here at the university is to enrich people's lives personally and professionally, and the Profit Break is an opportunity for sharing insights on how to grow revenue, reduce costs, enrich yourself, your team, and your business. Now, if you're joining us for the Profit Break for the first time, welcome. We are glad you are here. Give us 15 minutes. And you'll be well on your way to improving your profitability. Today, we are joined by Sara Vigil, who's the Senior Director of Marketing with the Trifecta Management Group. Trifecta provides management and value-added consulting services in the fields of operations, marketing, training, culinary, and tech to bowling and entertainment centers. Now, as a digital marketing expert, Sara spearheads the development of marketing strategies for Trifecta's clients. In fact, she's in the middle of a grand opening right now as we speak, and we're super excited that she took a break to be with us. Sara, welcome, and thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Bart. I'm excited to be talking with you today, and even more excited to be able to see you and everybody in a few months at Bowl Expo.
Yeah, well, it will be here before you know it. So let's get started. Let's knock a few things out this morning. Let's start at like 30,000 feet if we can. First, with an understanding of what digital advertising is. We hear these terms thrown around a lot in a lot of different ways. So share with the audience today, what is digital advertising for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, kind of one of the problems with it is it's such a broad term. When I'm discussing digital advertising with our clients or with our venues, I find that most people have a different definition of what it really is. So back to that 30,000-foot view, digital marketing is really everything from website to email to social media, YouTube, banner ads, truly the list goes on. But for the purpose of today's conversation, I'm going to zero in on what we call digital advertising, which is that delivery of ads on websites and applications. So these are going to be ads you see on like the Google search engine results page, or even banner ads on the top or right side of websites, commercials when you're watching YouTube, or even the ads you see if you're streaming on a smart TV. So all of that is what I'm going to encompass as digital advertising.
Good. Well, thank you. So you've narrowed that down. We're talking specifically about advertising. Now, realistically, for a small business, what can we hope to accomplish with digital advertising?
Yeah, so with like a lot of advertising, digital advertising's main focus is awareness. That could be awareness of your business's existence as a whole, or it can be awareness of a specific promotion or a specific special. It's really going to be getting your brand out there within a local market. That's the beauty of digital advertising, is you can target it very specifically to whether it be geographical or even demographics, who it is that you want to see it. So with the awareness to that right audience, the ultimate goal is obviously to drive business. But again, the first step to that is going to be getting said awareness and then getting those folks to take action to visit your business.
Yeah, and that sounds simple. And sometimes we think that these things are reserved for like big businesses or corporations or folks with large marketing budgets. Specifically to our audience, that many of them have bowling as some type of entertainment or even their core product. I guess cutting to the chase, will it work for bowling centers?
We've absolutely seen it work for bowling centers. We've actually seen it work tremendously. So, with any locally owned business, budgets are tight. Yeah, at Trifecta, our philosophy is that we invest anywhere between 2.5 to 4% of annual revenues back into marketing. From a percentage basis, that might seem like a lot, but it's split amongst so many categories that you have to be strategic about what you're going to advertise or what you're going to invest your advertising dollars in. So we started investing in digital advertising, let's say, I lose time with COVID, so I'm going to go ahead and say 5 years ago, because that seems like the right number. And we really transitioned away from spending on print and traditional advertising, which, as many people know, are pretty expensive and really hard to track. So when we made that switch from investing in traditional to investing in more of the digital, we saw great success. And when I say success, what I mean is year-over-year revenue increases. So bowling centers, generally, we're a non-e-commerce business. You guys might be selling, some sort of passes or stuff on your website, but generally it's not e-commerce. So in my mind, success is always going to be year-over-year revenues and making sure your business is growing each year. And we can correlate back to when we started doing our digital advertising to those increases that we've seen across our different clients and our venues businesses.
Yeah, and I want to go back to a stat that you quoted. You mentioned like 2.5 to 4% of revenue that I believe focused on that. I love that you said that because it's a nice setup. It goes to some of the data and things we speak to at the university and what our data shows there, that it doesn't have to be an exorbitant amount of funds. All right, that, you know, 2.5 to 4% is a realistic number that I think all small businesses can really set aside there. But let's drill down another level. So what are some of the results that a small business can expect to see if they choose to put their foot in the water, toe in the water, so to speak, and start to allocate, 2-3% of their revenue towards things like this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the greatest thing about digital advertising specifically is that it's trackable. So you're going to pay for digital advertising in two different ways. One's going to be you're going to pay for impressions. This is more similar to when you're running a commercial, for example. You want to get as many eyes on it as possible, so you're going to pay for impressions. Otherwise, you're going to pay for clicks. So this is display ads or search engine ads. Those you pay for the clicks opposed to the impressions. So what's great about it, again, is you can really define what your budget is. Let's say your budget is $250 a month. You can take that amount of money and you can essentially say, okay, I'm going to pay 50 cents per click, so I'm going to get 500 clicks onto my website. Clicks may not seem like the most exciting thing because you don't always know whether that click became a customer. And again, this is why we track year-over-year revenues against our marketing and advertising efforts, because unless you're discounting, it will be difficult to exclusively know what drew that person in. But again, I'm going back to that. The real beauty of the digital ad is that you can track and you can spend what you want. So let's say you're comfortable spending $250 at first. You're seeing your trends. You're seeing that something's going on. Something's increasing business. Maybe it's this digital advertising. You can take and say, now I'm comfortable spending 500. And what is exactly going to happen is your results are going to double in terms of all of that trackable data. You've got to track that against your trends to make sure that those dollars are still, working the way that you want them to. But again, you can really expect to see that increase in website traffic, and then you've got to make sure you're also seeing an increase in your foot traffic in the business.
Yeah, very good. Now, I know you're going to drill down to this in a lot more detail when you join us in Vegas in June, but just to get a little bit into the weeds and some of the tactics, we hear a lot about terms. Are search ads and search engine optimization, are those the same thing? Are they different? Or what are those?
Yeah, we get this question a lot from our clients and from our venues, our general managers. So the short answer, no. Search advertising is when you pay to be on the top for specific keywords. When I say on the top, I mean on the top of the Google search engine result page. So it's a lot like digital advertising. You're paying for the clicks there. Whereas search engine optimization, also called SEO, this is a term that describes the techniques that can be used to have your website rank organically in the not paid section for various keywords and phrases. I think the two most important things to know about the differences between SEO and search engine ads are SEO is far more expensive. It's going to be something you have to invest $1,000 a month in, and there are no guaranteed results. Whereas with search ads, you're guaranteed that you're going to get clicks. You're only going to pay when you get clicks. So especially for new businesses that haven't been able to maybe build up that organic SEO in the market, search engine ads are a great way to make sure that you're still coming up for things like, kids' birthday parties or blacklight bowling or whatever it is, especially if you have a lot of competition within your local market.
Yeah, great takeaway, and I hope our listeners today caught that the difference and with your limited budget, what we want to focus on with those search ads. So let's talk about the 800-pound gorilla, Facebook. They rule the world, and they're important. Facebook ads versus display ads, the same thing, different? Again, more terms that sometimes get interchangeable.
Yeah, absolutely. So the short answer, they're very, very similar. The way I like to think about it is that Facebook ads are digital ads that appear only on Facebook, Instagram, and their audience networks. So it's a very specific type of display ad or digital ad that's going to show up in really three distinct places that are owned by Facebook. Whereas display ads, they're again similar to these Facebook ads, but they're going to appear on hundreds of thousands of websites. Most display ads are placed through Google, so they go to a thing called a Google Audience Networks. So it's just a larger repertoire, I guess I'll say, of websites that Google has deemed appropriate to advertise on, where Facebook places their display ads on Facebook and Instagram and a small amount of audience networks that they've partnered with.
Good. So Here's a question that I get a lot, and we get a lot at the campus, and I'm sure you get this. I'm really interested in your take. As small businesses, can we go this alone? Do we need an agency? If you've made the decision that you're going to be in this space, what's the best course of action? How do I get there?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is really what my seminar at Bowl Expo is going to focus on. I'm going to teach everyone in attendance how to do their own search ads. What's great is that Google has made this a lot easier for small businesses to do. So they've there was always the way to do it through Google AdWords, which can be overwhelming and I'll say overcomplicated, but they created a way through your Google My Business listing. So, if someone searches for you, your business is going to be on there with your phone number and your website, that stuff. If you have that claimed, Google has created a way through that you can actually place your own search ads. And that's what I'm going to focus on at Bowl Expo, of course, after going over all of the, ins and outs and teaching technique and strategies and whatnot as well. So from a search ad perspective, I think it's very tangible for a business to be able to do that on their own. When you get into commercial advertising, for example, so wanting your 30-second commercial to play on YouTube or to play on a smart TV, it really does work in your best interest to work with an agency because they're going to be able to get better results for you and better placement. I guess it sounds counterintuitive because you think it would be cheaper to go it alone, but in most ways, it's not cheaper to go it alone. Not only are you going to pay the same amount of money, but you're actually going to get better results working with an agency than you would trying to do it on your own. So I suppose to backtrack, the short answer to that is there's parts of digital advertising small businesses can do without, really help from anyone. And there's parts of it that are just better to work with the professionals to do because your results are going to be better.
But the great news is hope is not lost. We can do some of this on our own, and you're going to share some of those things with us as we get together there. So great stuff. So let's sneak in one more question here, Sara. I know we're tight on time. We appreciate you taking a few moments to be with us here. You started out talking about, what was more traditional mass media in an era where I grew up in and cut kind of my marketing teeth were things like, the print and the radio and all of those things. How does digital fit in? Should it replace it? Does it go along with it? Is mass media dead? Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say mass media is dead by any means, but it is becoming more and more difficult for small businesses to afford. So we have found digital to be a great replacement for this traditional mass media. So anything like print, radio, TV, billboards, that type of stuff, simply because digital advertising is more affordable, it's more targeted, and it's more trackable. So for those reasons, we've really divested over the last few years in traditional advertising and invested more on the digital front. And again, we've really seen those revenues continue to grow year over year. So we see this as a successful move in terms of our marketing strategy.
Good stuff. So, Sara, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule. We can't wait to have you join us. Folks can get the full deep dive in just a few months at Bowl Expo.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see you guys there. Thank you, Bart.
Thank you. Well, hey, remember, if you'd like to learn even more about digital marketing with Sara and be she's one of our featured speakers at Bowl Expo in Las Vegas this June, Sara's 90-minute learning lab, Digital Advertising Explained, will be taking place on Tuesday, June 28th, 10:15 a.m., and you are not going to want to miss it. Set your alarm clocks, get to Bowl Expo. As we wrap up another edition of the Bowling University Profit Break, remember that when your focus is on growing people, people will grow your business. We look forward to seeing you next time for another great episode. If you have any questions about today's show or would like additional information, you can reach us anytime at education@bpaa.com. Also, you and your team can watch any of our previous episodes 24/7 by visiting bowlinguniversity.net. The Profit Break is now available when you want it, and we have episodes premiering every month. Until then, I'm Bart Berger, and remember, do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. We'll see you next time.